Italian restaurant felt too expensive, too elegant for their simple clothes and empty bank account. Amara's friend Rebecca had insisted this blind date would change her life, but all Amara could think about was how she'd explain to her boss tomorrow why she'd called in sick just to meet some stranger who probably wouldn't show up anyway. "Mommy, why do you look scared?" Kaya asked, not looking up from her drawing of what appeared to be a house with too many windows. "I'm not scared, baby. Just nervous." Amara smoothed down her daughter's curls and checked the time again. 7:30. He was already 10 minutes late, and the waitress had walked by their table 4 times with that look that said they needed to order something soon or leave. The truth was, Amara had no business being here. Her small marketing business barely kept them afloat, and after paying rent this month, she'd had to choose between new school clothes for Kaya or groceries that would last until her next client payment came through. She'd chosen groceries, which meant Kaya was wearing her shoes with the hole in the sole and Amara was in her only good dress, the black one she'd bought 3 years ago for job interviews that never led anywhere significant. Just as she was about to gather their things and leave, the restaurant door opened with a whoosh of cold air and rain. A tall man in an expensive suit walked in, water dripping from his dark hair, his eyes scanning the room until they landed on their table. He was handsome in that polished way that spoke of money and privilege, the kind of man who belonged in places like this while she felt like an imposter. Could this chance encounter really change everything for a struggling single mother and her daughter? What happens when wealth meets genuine need? Subscribe and share your thoughts below on whether you believe in fairy tale endings in real life. Amara Williams had said no to blind dates 17 times in the past 2 years. She'd made it clear to everyone, including her best friend Rebecca, that she wasn't interested in dating. Between running her small marketing consultancy from their tiny apartment and raising 6-year-old Kaya alone, she barely had time to sleep, let alone complicate her life with romance. But Rebecca had a way of wearing people down. "Just this once, Amara. Please. Logan is my cousin's business partner, and he specifically asked to meet you after seeing your work on the Henderson campaign," Rebecca had pleaded over coffee the week before. "He's successful, kind, and he's been alone for too long. You both need this." Amara had stirred her coffee, which was her 3rd cup that morning because she'd been up until 2 a.m. working on client proposals. "I don't need anything except more clients and about 10 more hours in each day. When was the last time you did something just for yourself?" The question had hung in the air because Amara couldn't remember. Every decision, every moment, every penny was calculated around what was best for Kaya. That was what single mothers did. That was what love looked like when you were the only parent standing between your child and an uncertain world. Rebecca had pressed her advantage. 1 dinner. 2 hours maximum. If it's terrible, you never have to see him again and I'll stop trying to set you up forever. The forever part had sealed the deal. Now, sitting in Romano's Italian restaurant with its white tablecloths and prices that made her stomach clench, Amara wondered if she'd made a huge mistake. Her original babysitting plan had fallen through when her neighbor got called into work, leaving her with no choice but to bring Kaya along. She'd called Rebecca to cancel, but Rebecca had insisted Logan wouldn't mind. "He loves kids," Rebecca had said. "It'll be fine." Fine was not the word Amara would use to describe her current situation. Kaya was being wonderfully well behaved, but they were clearly out of place among the business dinners and anniversary celebrations happening around them. The bread basket in front of them remained untouched because Amara knew she'd have to pay for anything they consumed, and she had exactly $43 in her checking account until her next client payment cleared. "Mommy, is that him?" Kaya whispered, pointing toward the entrance. The man walking toward their table was definitely not what Amara had expected. Rebecca had mentioned he was successful, but she hadn't prepared her for someone who looked like he belonged on magazine covers. Logan was tall with dark hair slightly mussed from the rain, wearing a charcoal gray suit that probably cost more than Amara's rent. His smile was warm as he approached, and when his eyes met hers, she felt that flutter she'd forgotten existed. "Amara?" His voice was deep, confident. "I'm Logan Carter. I'm so sorry I'm late. The traffic was impossible in this rain." She stood to shake his hand, acutely aware of her simple black dress next to his obvious expensive taste. "No problem at all. This is my daughter, Kaya." Logan's attention immediately shifted to the little girl, and something in his expression softened. "Hello, Kaya. That's a beautiful name. Are you an artist?" He gestured to her drawing. Kaya beamed. "I'm drawing our house, but I'm making it bigger with more windows because Mommy says houses with lots of windows are happy houses." "That's very wise," Logan said seriously as if discussing philosophy with a colleague. "May I sit and see more of your artwork?" As he settled into his chair, Amara noticed how he really looked at Kaya's drawing, asking questions about the flowers she'd added and the rainbow that stretched across the sky. Most adults gave children's art a quick glance and empty praise, but Logan was genuinely engaged. "Are you hungry?" he asked, looking between them. "I hear the pasta here is incredible." Amara's stomach chose that moment to growl audibly. She'd skipped lunch to finish a project, and breakfast had been coffee and half of Kaya's leftover cereal. "We actually haven't decided yet." "Then let's look at everything together," Logan said, signaling the waitress. "I'm starving and I have a feeling Kaya might like the chicken fingers." "How did you know?" Kaya asked, impressed. "Lucky guess," Logan winked. As they looked over the menus, Amara felt her anxiety spike. The entree prices started at $28. Even if she ordered the cheapest item and shared it with Kaya, she'd spend money they needed for other things. But before she could suggest they order just appetizers, Logan was already talking to the waitress. "We'll start with the calamari and bruschetta to share," he said. "The lady will have the seafood linguine, I'll take the ribeye, and can we get the chicken fingers with extra fries for the young artist here?" "Logan, I can." Amara started. "My treat entirely," he said firmly but kindly. "Rebecca told me you were doing me the favor of meeting a stranger on a weeknight. The least I can do is buy dinner." The relief that washed over Amara was so strong she almost teared up. When had someone last taken care of a meal, a decision, a worry? She couldn't remember. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Thank you for coming. Both of you." Logan smiled at Kaya. "I haven't had dinner with an artist in years. This is already the best Monday I've had in a long time." As the evening progressed, Amara found herself relaxing for the first time in months. Logan was easy to talk to, funny without trying too hard, and he seemed genuinely interested in her work. But what struck her most was how naturally he included Kaya in their conversation, never making her feel like a third wheel or an inconvenience. When Kaya spilled her juice, Logan flagged down the waitress for another without missing a beat in their discussion about marketing strategies. When she got restless during the main course, he produced a small notebook from his jacket pocket and showed her how to draw three-dimensional boxes, turning it into a game that kept her engaged and happy. "You're good with kids," Amara observed. "I like honest people," Logan replied. "Kids haven't learned to hide what they're thinking yet. It's refreshing." As if to prove his point, Kaya looked up from her new drawing. "Are you rich?" "Kaya," Amara said quickly, her cheeks burning. "We don't ask questions like that." But Logan was laughing. "It's okay. Yes, I am, Kaya. Does that matter?" Kaya considered this seriously. "Mommy says money doesn't make people good or bad, just comfortable or worried. Are you comfortable?" "Very comfortable," Logan said, and Amara caught something wistful in his voice. "Are you worried?" "Sometimes mommy is worried about money but she tries to hide it. But I think if you have lots of money and you're nice, that's probably good because you can help people not be worried." The simple wisdom of a 6-year-old hung in the air between the adults. Amara wanted to disappear into the floor, but Logan was nodding thoughtfully. "You know what, Kaya? I think you might be the smartest person I've ever had dinner with." By the time dessert arrived, Amara realized she hadn't checked her phone once in over an hour. She'd been completely present, engaged in conversation with an interesting man while watching her daughter charm him with her innocent observations about the world. It felt like a gift she hadn't known she needed. When Logan insisted on walking them to their car, Amara didn't protest. The rain had stopped, and the evening air felt fresh and full of possibilities. "I had a wonderful time," Logan said as they reached her modest sedan. "Both of you made this the highlight of my week." "Thank you for dinner," Amara said. "And for being so kind to Kaya. She's special. You're both special." He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. "I know Rebecca probably oversold this whole blind date thing, but I'd really like to see you again. Both of you. Maybe something more casual next time." Amara felt that flutter again, stronger now. "I'd like that too." As they drove home, Kaya chattered about Logan and how he'd promised to teach her more drawing tricks. But Amara was quiet, processing the unexpected turn her evening had taken. She'd gone to dinner expecting awkwardness and obligation. Instead, she'd found something she'd stopped looking for entirely. Hope. 3 days after their dinner at Romano's, Logan called while Amara was wrestling with a particularly difficult client presentation. Kaya was at her after-school program, and Amara had been staring at her laptop screen for 20 minutes, trying to figure out how to make a local bakery's social media strategy sound revolutionary enough to justify her modest fee. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything important," Logan's voice was warm through the phone. "Just trying to make bread photos look like art." Amara said, surprising herself by being honest instead of pretending everything was under control. Logan laughed. That sounds like a challenge worthy of your talents. Listen, I have a proposition. There's a children's science museum downtown that I've been meaning to visit, and I thought Kaya might enjoy it. Would you both like to go on Saturday? Amara's first instinct was to calculate costs, but she caught herself. Logan had made it clear he wanted to treat them, and fighting him on every expense would only make things awkward. That sounds wonderful. Kaya loves anything hands-on. Perfect. I'll pick you both up around 10? After she gave him their address, there was a pause. Amara, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I haven't stopped thinking about Monday night. Not just about you, though you were lovely, but about how happy Kaya seemed. When was the last time someone took care of both of you? The question caught her off guard. I take care of us just fine. I'm sure you do. You're obviously an amazing mother. But that's not what I meant. His voice was gentle. I meant, when did someone last take care of you? Amara couldn't answer because the truth was too complicated. Since Kaya's father had left when she was barely walking, Amara had been the caretaker, the provider, the protector. She'd built walls so high around their little family that she'd forgotten what it felt like to let someone else carry even the smallest burden. Saturday sounds perfect, she said instead. When Logan arrived on Saturday morning, he wasn't driving the expensive sports car Amara had expected. Instead, he pulled up in a practical SUV with car seats already installed in the back. You bought car seats? Amara asked as he helped buckle Kaya in. I borrowed them from my assistant. She has twins. Logan adjusted the straps carefully. Safety first, right? But Amara had seen the tags still attached to the seats. He'd bought them specifically for today for Kaya, and was trying to make it seem casual. The thoughtfulness of it made her chest tight. The science museum was everything Kaya had dreamed of and more. Interactive exhibits let her conduct electricity, build structures that could withstand earthquakes, and create art with spinning wheels and paint. Logan was as engaged as she was, reading every plaque, asking museum staff questions, and taking pictures of Kaya's experiments. Look, Mommy. I made lightning. Kaya called from the weather station exhibit. That's incredible, baby, Amara called back, but her attention was on Logan, who was crouched down at Kaya's level, genuinely excited about the static electricity demonstration. Did you know lightning can be 5 times hotter than the sun? He was telling her. That's why it's so bright. Wow. Do you know everything? Kaya asked. Definitely not, Logan laughed. But I like learning new things. Just like you. They spent 4 hours at the museum, and Logan seemed as reluctant as Kaya to leave. In the gift shop, he insisted on buying her a science kit that would let her grow crystals at home, despite Amara's protests. It's educational, he said reasonably. Besides, she's been talking about becoming a scientist all day. We should encourage that. Over lunch at a family-friendly restaurant nearby, Logan asked Kaya about school, her friends, her favorite subjects. He listened to her answers with the same attention he'd given Amara's thoughts on marketing strategy 3 nights earlier. My teacher says I'm good at math, Kaya announced, dipping her grilled cheese sandwich in tomato soup. Math is important for science, Logan said. What kind of scientist do you want to be? The kind that helps people, Kaya said seriously. Like my mommy helps people with their businesses, but with science instead. Logan glanced at Amara. Your mom helps a lot of people. She works really hard, Kaya agreed. Sometimes she falls asleep at her computer and I have to wake her up to go to bed. Amara felt her cheeks warm. Kaya. It's okay, Mommy. Logan probably works hard too. Do you fall asleep at your computer? Kaya asked him. Sometimes, Logan admitted. But maybe we both need to get better at that. What do you think, Kaya? Should we make sure your mom gets enough sleep? Yes. She needs lots of sleep so she won't be grumpy in the mornings. I'm not grumpy, Amara protested. You are before coffee, Kaya said matter-of-factly, making Logan laugh so hard he nearly choked on his sandwich. As they walked back to Logan's car, Kaya skipped ahead, clutching her new science kit and chattering about which experiments she wanted to try first. Logan fell into step beside Amara. She's remarkable, he said quietly. Curious, kind, honest. You're raising an amazing person. Some days I feel like I'm barely keeping up, Amara admitted. Single parenting is harder than I thought it would be. You make it look easy. That's because you've only seen us on good days. Amara watched Kaya attempt to balance on a low wall bordering the parking lot. There are a lot of days when I don't know what I'm doing. I think that's called being human, Logan said. The fact that you worry about doing right by her means you already are. When they reached Amara's apartment complex, Logan walked them to their door, carrying Kaya's science kit and the bag of books they picked up from the museum library. "Thank you for today," Amara said as she searched for her keys. Kaya had the best time. So did I. Logan looked around their modest neighborhood, taking in the older buildings and small patches of grass that served as yards. "This is nice. Quiet." Amara followed his gaze, trying to see it through his eyes. The paint was peeling on some of the building exteriors, and the playground equipment in the courtyard had seen better days, but it was safe and affordable, which was what mattered. "It works for us." "Mommy, can Logan see my room?" Kaya asked, bouncing with excitement. "I want to show him my rock collection." Amara hesitated. Their apartment was clean but tiny, furnished with pieces from thrift stores and hand-me-downs from friends. It was a far cry from whatever Logan was used to. "I'd love to see your rock collection," Logan said before Amara could deflect. Their small living room served as both Amara's office and Kaya's play area. A card table with her laptop competed for space with bins of toys and art supplies. The kitchen was barely big enough for 2 people, and Kaya's bedroom was just large enough for a twin bed, a small dresser and shelves lined with books and treasures. But Logan didn't seem to notice the cramped quarters or the mismatched furniture. He sat cross-legged on Kaya's bedroom floor and listened with genuine interest as she showed him each rock in her collection, explaining where she'd found it and what made it special. "This one's from the beach when we went with Aunt Rebecca," Kaya said, holding up a smooth gray stone. "And this one I found in the parking lot, but it has sparkles in it, see?" "I do see," Logan said, examining it carefully. "That's mica. It's what makes rocks sparkle like that." "You really do know everything," Kaya breathed. "I just read a lot," Logan smiled. "Reading is how we learn about things we've never seen before." As they prepared to leave Kaya's room, Logan paused at her bookshelf, running his finger along the spines of well-worn picture books and early readers. "You have excellent taste in books," he told Kaya. "Have you read any of the Magic School Bus series?" "Some of them, but not all. The library doesn't have every one." "Well, we'll have to fix that," Logan said, and Amara saw him make a mental note. At the door, Logan turned to both of them. "I had the perfect day. Thank you for sharing it with me." "Can we do it again?" Kaya asked hopefully. "If your mom says it's okay, I'd love that very much." After he left, Kaya immediately began setting up her first crystal growing experiment while Amara put away their lunch leftovers and tried to process the day. Logan had fit into their world so naturally, showing interest in everything from Kaya's rock collection to the community garden visible from their kitchen window. "Mommy, I really like Logan," Kaya announced from the kitchen table where she was carefully measuring chemicals for her crystals. "I can tell," Amara said. "He seems to like you too. Do you like him?" Amara considered the question as she watched her daughter work with scientific precision on her new project. Logan had been kind, attentive, and generous without being overwhelming. He treated both of them with respect and genuine interest. Most importantly, he'd made Kaya feel special and heard. "Yes," she said finally. "I like him very much." "Good," Kaya said, stirring her crystal solution. "Because I think he likes us too, and it would be nice to have someone around who knows about science and doesn't mind when we ask lots of questions." That night, after Kaya was asleep, Amara sat at her small kitchen table with a cup of tea, thinking about Logan's question from earlier in the week. When was the last time someone had taken care of her? She couldn't remember, and that realization didn't scare her as much as it once would have. Maybe she was ready to find out what that felt like again. Logan's text arrived while Amara was battling with her ancient laptop, which had decided Tuesday morning was the perfect time to freeze during an important client presentation. "Emergency tech support available. Also coffee. Are you free for lunch?" Amara stared at the message, then at her frozen screen showing half of a social media strategy that needed to be delivered by 5 p.m. Her first instinct was to decline. She had work to finish, bills to organize, and Kaya's parent-teacher conference to prepare for. But something about Logan's offer made her pause. "My laptop is having a breakdown and taking me with it," she texted back. "Perfect. I speak fluent technology meltdown. Address." 30 minutes later, Logan knocked on her door carrying a bag from her favorite coffee shop and a sleek laptop case. "You didn't have to." Amara started. "Backup computer," Logan said, setting up what was clearly an expensive machine on her card table. "I always carry a spare for emergencies. Coffee first though. You look like you need caffeine." He'd brought her preferred order without asking, a large cappuccino with an extra shot and just a touch of vanilla. The fact that he'd remembered such a small detail from their museum visit made something flutter in her chest. "How did you know my coffee order?" I pay attention to important things, Logan said simply, then turned to her frozen laptop. Now let's see what we're dealing with here. While Logan worked on her computer, Amara found herself stealing glances at him. He'd rolled up his sleeves and was completely focused on the problem, explaining what he was doing as he worked. Your hard drive is probably failing, he said, fingers flying over the keyboard. But I can recover your files and transfer everything to the backup computer. You won't lose any work. Logan, I can't borrow your laptop. You're not borrowing it. I'm giving it to you. He didn't look up from the screen. I have 3 others and this one just sits in my office collecting dust. Amara felt her throat tighten. That's too much. Logan stopped typing and looked at her directly. Amara, you're a talented professional trying to build a business while raising an amazing daughter. A reliable computer isn't charity, it's a basic business necessity. Please let me help. Before she could argue further, her phone rang. Kaya's school. Mrs. Williams? This is Janet from the school office. Kaya is fine, but she's in the nurse's office with a stomachache. Can you come pick her up? Amara's heart raced as she grabbed her keys. I'll be right there. I'll drive you, Logan said, already saving her work and closing the laptop. My car's faster and I know a shortcut. At the school they found Kaya curled up on the nurse's cot, looking small and pale. She brightened immediately when she saw them. Mommy? Logan came too? Of course I came, Logan said, sitting on the chair next to her cot. How are you feeling, scientist? My tummy hurts, but it's better now that you're both here. Kaya sat up slowly. I think I was just worried about my math test tomorrow. The nurse smiled at Logan and Amara. She's been asking for her mom for the past hour, but her fever broke about 20 minutes ago. Probably just a little anxiety mixed with a minor bug. She should be fine to go home. As they walked to Logan's car, Kaya between them holding both their hands, Amara marveled at how natural this felt. Logan had dropped whatever he was doing to help with her computer crisis and then drive her to school without question. He was treating Kaya's sick day like it was the most important thing in his schedule. Can we go home and work on my crystals? Kaya asked as Logan helped her into the car seat he'd apparently left installed since Saturday. I want to see if they grew. That sounds like the perfect sick day activity, Logan agreed. Very low-key and scientific. Back at the apartment, Kaya's crystals had indeed grown, creating small but impressive formations in their containers. Logan was as excited as she was, taking photos and asking questions about which solutions had worked best. You're going to have to document this properly, he told her. Real scientists keep detailed records of their experiments. Like a science journal? Exactly like that. Logan pulled out his phone. In fact, I know where we can get you a proper lab notebook. Would you like that? While Kaya rested on the couch, Logan finished transferring all of Amara's files to the new laptop. She watched him work, still amazed that he'd shown up without hesitation when she needed help. Why are you doing all this? She asked quietly. Logan looked up from the screen. Doing what? The computer, driving us to school, being here. You barely know us. He was quiet for a long moment. Can I tell you something? Last Monday night was the first time in 2 years that I enjoyed an evening out. Yesterday at the museum was the first Saturday I've looked forward to in longer than I can remember. And today. He gestured around her small apartment where Kaya was dozing on the couch surrounded by her crystal experiments. Today feels like the most worthwhile way I've ever spent a Tuesday afternoon. Logan. I know it probably seems fast, but I haven't felt this connected to anyone in a very long time. You and Kaya, you make everything feel real. Important. Like it matters. He saved her document and closed the laptop. I want to be part of this. Whatever this is. Before Amara could respond, Kaya stirred on the couch. Are you staying for dinner, Logan? Mommy makes really good grilled cheese. Logan looked at Amara. If that's okay with your mom, I'd love to stay. Making dinner together in her tiny kitchen should have been awkward. Logan was clearly used to fancier food and more space, but he seemed genuinely happy to help Kaya set the table while Amara grilled sandwiches and heated soup. This is the best grilled cheese I've ever had, Logan declared after his first bite. That's because Mommy puts butter on both sides of the bread, Kaya explained seriously. It's the secret. I'll have to remember that technique, Logan said. Very advanced culinary science. After dinner, Logan helped with Kaya's bedtime routine as if he'd been doing it for years. He listened to her read from one of her science books, helped her organize tomorrow's school clothes, and sat patiently while she explained her theory about why her crystals had grown faster in the kitchen than by the window. Temperature and humidity, she concluded. The kitchen is warmer because of the stove. Excellent hypothesis, Logan nodded. You're thinking like a real scientist. When Kaya was finally settled in bed, Logan and Amara sat on her small couch with cups of tea, the new laptop open between them as she worked on finishing her client presentation. This is really good work, Logan said, reading over her marketing strategy. Have you thought about expanding your client base? Every day, Amara admitted. But it's hard to take on bigger projects when it's just me. If a client needs something urgently and Kaya gets sick. She gestured toward the bedroom. What if that wasn't an issue? Amara looked up from the screen. What do you mean? I mean, what if you had reliable childcare backup? What if you had someone who could step in when emergencies come up so you never had to choose between your daughter and your work? Logan, you can't just... I can, he said gently. I want to. Today proved to me that I want to be someone you can count on. For both of you. Amara stared at him, seeing sincerity in his expression but still struggling to believe it. You don't know what you're offering. Kids get sick at inconvenient times. School events happen during business hours. There are 1,000 small emergencies that I want to help with, Logan finished. Amara, I'm not offering to be a babysitter. I'm offering to be someone who cares about Kaya's well-being as much as you do. Someone who wants to be there for the sick days and the school plays and the science fair projects. The weight of what he was saying settled between them. Logan wasn't just offering to help with childcare logistics. He was offering to become part of their family structure, to share the daily responsibilities and small joys that came with raising Kaya. I need to think about this, Amara said finally. Of course. Logan closed the laptop and gathered his things. Take all the time you need. But Amara? Today wasn't an inconvenience or a favor. It was exactly where I wanted to be. After he left, Amara sat in her quiet living room, looking at the new laptop that represented more than just a replacement for her broken computer. It represented Logan's faith in her business, his willingness to invest in her success, his desire to remove obstacles from her path. She thought about how naturally he'd fit into their crisis day, how Kaya had reached for his hand as easily as she reached for her own, how right it had felt to have someone else share the worry and the solutions. For the first time since Kaya was born, Amara allowed herself to imagine what it might be like to not carry everything alone. The possibility was both thrilling and terrifying, but mostly, it felt like hope. The parent-teacher conference that Thursday afternoon changed everything. Amara sat across from Mrs. Patterson, Kaya's teacher, trying to process what she was hearing about her daughter's academic performance. Kaya is exceptionally bright, Mrs. Patterson was saying, but she's not being challenged at her current level. I'd like to recommend her for our gifted and talented program, which would mean additional resources, specialized projects and unfortunately, additional costs for materials and field trips. Amara's heart swelled with pride even as her stomach knotted with worry. What kind of additional costs? Mrs. Patterson slid a packet across the table. The program fee is modest, but there are several educational trips throughout the year, plus specialized materials for advanced projects. It averages about $200 per semester. $400 a year that Amara didn't have. She nodded and smiled, taking the packet while mentally calculating whether she could pick up additional client work, maybe cut back on groceries, possibly ask Rebecca for another loan she wasn't sure she could repay. I'll review everything and let you know, Amara said, hoping her voice sounded more confident than she felt. That evening, Logan arrived for dinner with a bag of groceries and a new Magic School Bus book for Kaya, as had become his routine over the past week. He took one look at Amara's face and immediately asked what was wrong. Nothing's wrong exactly, Amara said, trying to sound upbeat while she unpacked the groceries he'd brought. Kaya's teacher thinks she should join the gifted program at school. That's wonderful, Logan said, then paused. But you don't look happy about it. Kaya bounded into the kitchen before Amara could answer. Logan, look what I made today. She held up a detailed drawing of the solar system, complete with labels for each planet and their distances from the sun. This is incredible, Kaya, Logan said, examining the drawing carefully. You even included Pluto. Very thorough scientific work. Mrs. Patterson says I might get to join the Smart Kids program, Kaya announced proudly. We get to do special projects and go on trips to cool places. That sounds amazing, Logan said, but Amara caught his glance in her direction. Tell me more about these special projects. While Kaya chattered about advanced experiments and field trips to the planetarium, Amara busied herself with dinner preparation, trying to figure out how to manage the program costs without Logan noticing her financial stress. After Kaya went to bed that night, Logan brought up the subject directly. The gifted program has fees, doesn't it? He said gently. Amara sighed, abandoning any pretense. Nothing I can't handle. That's not what I asked. Logan moved closer on the couch. Amara, I saw your face when Kaya was talking about the trips and special materials. You're worried about the cost. I'll figure it out. I always do. What if you didn't have to figure it out alone? Here it was again, Logan's consistent offer to help, to remove obstacles, to make their lives easier. Amara had been raised to be independent, to handle her own problems, to never be a burden on anyone else. I can't let you pay for Kaya's school programs, she said firmly. Why not? The simple question caught her off guard. Because that's not your responsibility. She's my daughter. She's also someone I care about deeply, Logan said. Someone whose future matters to me. Amara, I'm not offering charity. I'm offering investment in a brilliant little girl who deserves every opportunity to reach her potential. It's too much. Logan was quiet for a moment, then pulled out his phone. Can I show you something? The screen displayed what looked like a financial portfolio, numbers that made Amara's eyes widen. This is what I spent on my car, Logan said, pointing to one figure. This is what I spent on dinner at a single restaurant last month. Another number. And this, he scrolled to a much smaller figure, is what Kaya's entire gifted program would cost for the full year. The comparison was staggering. What represented a significant financial burden for Amara was less than Logan spent on a single meal. I'm not showing you this to make you feel bad, Logan said quickly. I'm showing you because I want you to understand that helping with Kaya's education isn't a sacrifice for me. It's not even noticeable in my budget. But for her, it could change everything. Logan. Please, he said simply. Let me do this. Let me be part of giving her the opportunities she deserves. The next morning, Amara called Mrs. Patterson and enrolled Kaya in the gifted program. When she told Kaya the news after school, her daughter's joy was so pure and bright that any lingering doubts Amara had about accepting Logan's help disappeared. Really? I get to do the advanced projects and everything? Everything, Amara confirmed, pulling her daughter into a hug. Can we call Logan and tell him? Kaya asked. He's going to be so excited. Logan was indeed excited, and his enthusiasm over the phone made Amara realize something important. He wasn't helping them out of pity or obligation. He was genuinely invested in Kaya's success and happiness. His joy at her opportunities was as real as a parent's would be. That weekend, Logan took them furniture shopping. The card table is fine for my work, Amara protested as he led them through a furniture showroom. It's not fine, Logan said practically. You're running a professional business from your home. You need a proper desk, a comfortable chair, and a filing system that doesn't involve cardboard boxes. Logan, I can't afford. I'm not asking you to afford it. I'm asking you to let me create a proper workspace for someone whose business I believe in. 3 hours later, they'd selected a beautiful desk, an ergonomic office chair, and a filing cabinet that would transform Amara's corner of the living room into a real home office. Logan arranged for everything to be delivered and set up while they were at lunch. This is too much, Amara said for the 10th time as they watched the delivery team arrange her new workspace. It's exactly enough, Logan replied, testing the height of her new chair. Now you can work comfortably, store your files properly, and meet with clients in a professional setting. Kaya was fascinated by the transformation. It looks like a real office now, Mommy. It was always a real office, Logan told her. Now it just looks as professional as your mom's work. That evening, as Amara sat at her new desk working on a client proposal, she had to admit Logan was right. The proper workspace made everything easier. Her back didn't ache from hunching over the card table, her files were organized and accessible, and she felt more confident about her business than she had in months. Thank you, she said when Logan brought her a cup of coffee. You're welcome. But Amara, I need you to understand something. Logan sat on the edge of her desk. These aren't gifts you need to feel guilty about or pay back. They're investments in people I care about. They make me happy to give. I'm not used to this, Amara admitted. I've been handling everything alone for so long. You don't have to anymore, Logan said softly. Not if you don't want to. The following Tuesday brought their first real test. Amara was in the middle of an important client call when Kaya's school called on the other line. Logan was at her apartment, having stopped by to help troubleshoot a technical issue with her new computer setup. Go ahead and take it, Logan whispered, seeing her torn expression. I'll handle your client. Amara hesitated for only a moment before switching lines. Kaya had fallen during recess and needed to be picked up for a possible sprained wrist. I have to go, she told Logan quickly. Can you tell my client I'll call back in an hour? I'll do better than that, Logan said, already reaching for her headset. I'll finish the meeting. Give me 30 seconds to review your notes. At the school, Kaya's injury turned out to be minor, just a slight strain that needed ice and rest. But the incident had shaken both of them, and by the time they returned home 2 hours later, Amara was exhausted from worry and stress. Logan was waiting with takeout from their favorite restaurant and news that not only had he successfully completed her client meeting, but he'd also secured a contract extension that would increase her monthly retainer by 40%. How did you? Amara began. I listened to your previous calls, reviewed your strategy notes, and presented your ideas exactly as you would have, Logan said. You do excellent work, Amara. It wasn't hard to represent it properly. As they ate dinner, Kaya animatedly describing her dramatic fall and subsequent trip to the school nurse, Amara watched Logan listen with the same attention he'd probably given her client that afternoon. He'd seamlessly stepped into her professional obligations so she could handle a family emergency, then celebrated Kaya's adventure as if it were the most interesting story he'd ever heard. You saved my contract today, Amara said after Kaya went to bed. You would have done the same thing if our situations were reversed, Logan replied. That's what people do for each other when they care. Is that what this is? Amara asked quietly. Caring? Logan moved closer on the couch, taking her hand in his. It's the beginning of caring. It's me wanting to be someone you can count on, someone who makes your life easier instead of harder. It's me hoping you might want the same thing I do. What do you want? I want to be part of this, Logan said, gesturing around the apartment that had become so much more comfortable and functional with his help. I want to be someone Kaya looks forward to seeing, someone you trust with the important things. I want to build something together. Amara looked down at their joined hands, feeling the calluses from his keyboard work against her palm. I want that too, she said finally. It scares me, but I want it. We'll go slow, Logan promised. Whatever pace feels right for both of you. But even as he said it, Amara knew they'd already moved beyond slow. Logan had become essential to their daily routine, their support system, their family structure. He wasn't just someone she was dating, he was someone who'd woven himself into the fabric of their lives so naturally that she couldn't imagine managing without him. The realization should have terrified her. Instead, it felt like coming home. The call came on a Thursday morning while Logan was helping Kaya with her advanced math homework at Amara's kitchen table. His phone rang, and after a brief, professional conversation, he hung up with an expression Amara couldn't read. Everything okay? She asked, setting down coffee for him. Actually, yes. Better than okay. Logan looked between her and Kaya, who was focused on her multiplication problems. That was my head of marketing. We just lost our senior marketing strategist to a competitor, and we need someone immediately. Someone with exactly your skills and experience. Amara felt her heart skip. Logan. Before you say no, hear me out. It's a full-time position with benefits, salary that's 3 times what you're making now, and you'd be working on campaigns for major tech clients. Plus, there's a signing bonus that would cover Kaya's gifted program for the next 5 years. I can't work for you, Amara said automatically. It would be too complicated. What? Because we're dating? Logan smiled. Amara, my company has 200 employees. You'd be working with the marketing team, not directly for me. We might see each other in meetings, but that's it. Kaya looked up from her homework. Does this mean mommy would work in a big office like on TV? A beautiful office, Logan confirmed. With a view of the city and your own assistant and everything. That sounds amazing, mommy, Kaya said. You should do it. It's not that simple, baby, Amara said, though her mind was already racing with possibilities. Financial security, health insurance, a steady paycheck, professional growth opportunities. What's complicated about it? Logan asked reasonably. You're overqualified for the position, you'd excel at the work, and it would solve a lot of practical problems for your family. People would think I only got the job because I'm dating the CEO. People will think whatever they want to think, Logan said. But anyone who looks at your work will know you earned the position. Besides, I won't be the one hiring you. My head of marketing makes all those decisions independently. That afternoon, while Kaya was at her after-school program, Logan took Amara to tour his company's offices. The building was everything she'd imagined: modern, bright, filled with creative energy. The marketing department occupied an entire floor with collaborative workspaces, private offices, and a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. This would be yours, said Jennifer, the head of marketing, showing Amara to a corner office with natural light and enough space for a proper desk, meeting table and comfortable seating area. Logan mentioned you work from home currently, so I wanted to make sure you'd have everything you need to transition to office life. It's beautiful, Amara said honestly. The office was larger than her entire apartment. We're hoping to have someone start next Monday, Jennifer continued. I know it's fast, but we have 3 major campaigns launching next month, and we desperately need someone with your strategic background. The interview process was thorough and professional. Jennifer and her team asked detailed questions about Amara's experience, reviewed her portfolio, and discussed campaign strategies without once mentioning her relationship with Logan. By the end of 2 hours, Amara felt confident that she was being considered based solely on her qualifications. We'll make a decision by tomorrow, Jennifer said as she walked Amara back to the elevator. But I have to say, your work is exactly what we've been looking for. That evening, Logan took them to dinner to celebrate what he was convinced would be good news. Kaya was excited about the possibility of her mother working in a real office with elevators and everything, while Amara tried to manage her own growing excitement. What if they don't offer me the job? She asked Logan over dessert. They will, Logan said confidently. Jennifer texted me 20 minutes after you left. She wants to make you an offer. She texted you already? Amara, you're exactly what they need. Your portfolio speaks for itself. The fact that I happen to be dating you is just a happy coincidence. The offer came the next morning, and it was even better than Logan had described. The salary was more money than Amara had ever imagined making, the benefits package was comprehensive, and the signing bonus was generous enough to eliminate every financial worry she'd carried for the past 6 years. I can't believe this is real, she told Logan over lunch after accepting the position. Believe it? You earned this opportunity and you're going to be amazing at it. That weekend, they went shopping for professional clothes suitable for Amara's new corporate position. Logan insisted on treating her to an entire wardrobe, despite her protests. Consider it a business investment, he said as she tried on her 5th suit. You're representing one of my company's key departments now. You need to look the part. I look like a completely different person, Amara said, examining herself in the dressing room mirror. The navy blue suit was perfectly tailored, professional but stylish, and made her feel powerful in a way her thrift store clothes never had. You look like yourself, Logan corrected. Just properly dressed for the success you've always deserved. Kaya was fascinated by her mother's transformation. You look like the business ladies in movies, Mommy. Very important and smart. I don't know about important, Amara laughed. You are important, Logan said seriously. To the company, to your clients, to us. This job is just the world finally recognizing what I've known all along. Amara's first week at Carter Technologies flew by in a blur of meetings, strategy sessions, and project briefings. The work was challenging but engaging, her new colleagues were welcoming, and she found herself energized by the creative environment and professional resources. How's the new job treating you? Logan asked when he stopped by her apartment Friday evening with groceries and flowers. It's incredible, Amara admitted. I forgot how much I love working with a team, having proper budgets for campaigns, and not worrying about where my next client is coming from. And how's Kaya adjusting to the schedule change? This had been Amara's biggest concern. Her new job meant longer hours and less flexibility than working from home. But Logan had thought of that too. I hired a wonderful nanny, Amara said. Mrs. Rodriguez picks Kaya up from school, helps with homework, and stays until I get home. Kaya loves her. Mrs. Rodriguez has excellent references, Logan said casually. I may have helped with the vetting process. Logan, tell me you didn't. I didn't hire her for you, Logan said quickly. You found her and made that decision. I just made sure she had proper background checks and that her references were legitimate. Safety first. As autumn progressed, Amara settled into her new routine with surprising ease. Her work was fulfilling, her financial stress had completely disappeared, and Kaya was thriving with the additional stability and resources Logan's presence had brought to their lives. One October evening, as they walked through the park near Amara's apartment, Logan brought up a subject that had been on his mind for weeks. I've been thinking about your living situation, he said carefully. What about it? Your lease is up for renewal next month, and you mentioned your rent is increasing again. Amara sighed. 20% this year. It's still manageable with my new salary, but barely. What would you say to moving somewhere with more space? Maybe a place where Kaya could have a bigger bedroom, you could have a proper home office, and there'd be room for all those science experiments she's always working on? Logan, if you're suggesting I move in with you? I'm not, Logan said quickly. I mean, I'd love that eventually, but I know it's too soon. I'm suggesting something different. He pulled out his phone and showed her a listing for a beautiful townhouse in a family-friendly neighborhood with excellent schools. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a finished basement that would make a perfect office, and a backyard where Kaya could have a garden, Logan said. The rent is less than what you're paying now for your 1-bedroom apartment. How is that possible? Because I own the property, Logan admitted. I bought it as an investment last year, and it's been sitting empty because I haven't had time to find the right tenant. You'd be doing me a favor by occupying it. Amara stared at the photos. The townhouse was everything she dreamed of but never thought she could afford: spacious, modern, in a safe neighborhood with tree-lined streets and nearby parks. Logan, I can't live in your rental property. What happens if we break up? What happens if we don't? Logan asked softly. Amara, I'm not going anywhere. This isn't some temporary arrangement while I figure out what I really want. You and Kaya are what I want. It's too much too fast. Is it? We've been together for 3 months. You work at my company, I have keys to your apartment, Kaya calls me when she needs help with homework. We're already building a life together. This just gives us more room to build it properly. That night, after Logan left, Amara and Kaya sat on her couch looking through the photos of the townhouse on her laptop. It has a big backyard, Kaya observed. I could plant vegetables and flowers. You could, Amara agreed. And your own bathroom and space for all your books and science equipment. Do you like it, Mommy? Amara looked at her daughter, then back at the pictures of the beautiful home Logan was offering them. I love it, baby. But it's a big decision. Logan wants us to be happy, Kaya said with 6-year-old wisdom. And this house looks like a happy place. The next morning, Amara called Logan at his office. We'd like to see the townhouse, she said simply. I'll pick you both up at noon, Logan replied, and she could hear the smile in his voice. The house was even better in person. Sunlight streamed through large windows, the kitchen was spacious and modern, and Kaya immediately claimed the bedroom with built-in shelves for her book collection. The basement office space was perfect for Amara's growing consulting clients, and the backyard was indeed ideal for gardening. What do you think? Logan asked as they stood in the living room. I think, Amara said slowly, that Kaya is right. This looks like a happy place. So you'll take it? We'll take it, Amara confirmed, and Logan's resulting smile was brighter than all the sunshine streaming through the townhouse windows. As they drove home, Kaya chattered excitedly about decorating her new room and planning her garden, while Amara marveled at how quickly her life had transformed. 6 months ago, she'd been struggling to pay rent on a tiny apartment while building a business that barely supported them. Now she had a fulfilling career, financial security, and a beautiful home, all because she'd said yes to a blind date she hadn't wanted to go on. But more than that, she had Logan, someone who'd proven over and over that he was committed to their happiness, their success, and their future together. Someone who made everything feel possible. Are you happy, Mommy? Kaya asked from the back seat. Amara looked at Logan, who was holding her hand while he drove, then back at her daughter in the rearview mirror. I'm very happy, baby, she said. Very happy indeed. Moving day arrived with perfect fall weather and what seemed like an army of professional movers Logan had insisted on hiring. Amara had protested the expense, but Logan had pointed out that between her new job and Kaya's school schedule, they needed the efficiency that came with professional help. Besides, he'd said, you're not just moving apartments. You're transitioning to a completely new phase of life. It should feel special, not stressful. The townhouse looked even more beautiful with their belongings in it. Logan had arranged for the walls to be painted in warm, welcoming colors before they moved in, and he'd had the hardwood floors professionally cleaned and polished. Their modest furniture looked perfectly at home in the spacious rooms, though Logan had already started making subtle suggestions about pieces they might want to add. A dining room table would be nice, he mentioned as they surveyed the empty dining room. Somewhere we could all sit together for family dinners. Family dinners. The phrase sent a warm flutter through Amara's chest. They'd been eating together regularly for months, but always crowded around her small kitchen table or balanced on the couch. The idea of a proper dining room where they could host meals felt like a luxury she was still learning to accept. Kaya was in heaven with her new bedroom. The built-in shelves were perfect for her growing library, and the large windows provided excellent natural light for reading. She'd immediately set up her science station on the wide windowsill, arranging her crystal experiments and rock collection with scientific precision. This is the best room ever, she announced, spinning in the center of the space. Can I paint it purple? We can definitely paint it purple, Amara agreed, making a mental note to ask Logan about the painting policy for his rental property. Already approved, Logan said, appearing in the doorway with boxes marked Kaya's books. Purple, pink, green, rainbow stripes, whatever makes you happy. It's your room. The basement office was a dream come true for Amara. With proper lighting, built-in storage, and space for multiple work areas, she could finally separate her consulting clients from her day job responsibilities. Logan had surprised her by having a small seating area installed, a comfortable couch and coffee table where she could meet with local clients. You mentioned wanting to expand your independent consulting, he said when she discovered the setup. Now you have a proper space to meet with clients professionally. By evening they were mostly settled, and Logan had surprised them with dinner from their favorite restaurant. They sat on the floor of the living room, eating takeout surrounded by boxes, while Kaya drew pictures of how she wanted to arrange her new garden come spring. Thank you, Amara said quietly while Kaya was absorbed in her artwork. For all of this. The house, the job, making everything so much easier. Thank you for letting me, Logan replied. I know accepting help isn't natural for you. I'm learning, Amara admitted. It's still hard sometimes, feeling like I'm not contributing equally. Logan set down his food and turned to face her fully. Amara, you're raising an incredible daughter while building a successful career and somehow making me happier than I've ever been. If that's not equal contribution, I don't know what is. The first few weeks in the townhouse established new routines that felt natural and right. Logan would arrive most mornings with coffee and breakfast, often staying to help Kaya with her advanced homework before school. Evenings found him at their dining room table, which they'd selected together the weekend after moving in, helping with science projects or simply listening to Kaya's detailed reports about her day. He's like a dad now, Kaya observed one evening after Logan had left, as Amara tucked her into her new purple bedroom. He's Logan, Amara said carefully. Someone who cares about us very much. But he does dad things, Kaya persisted. He helps with homework and makes sure I eat vegetables and remembers when I have tests at school. Amara couldn't argue with that assessment. Logan had naturally assumed many parental responsibilities, and he seemed to enjoy every aspect of involvement in Kaya's daily life. Would you like him to be your dad? Amara asked softly. Kaya considered this with her usual seriousness. I think he already is, kind of. But it would be nice if it was official. That conversation stayed with Amara as November progressed. Logan's integration into their family had been so seamless that she sometimes forgot they weren't actually a family in any legal or formal sense. He was simply someone who'd chosen to love them and support them completely. The realization of how much she'd come to depend on him, not just practically but emotionally, hit her one Wednesday evening when Logan called to say he'd be late because of an unexpected business crisis. Don't wait dinner for me, he said. This might take a few hours to resolve. Amara hung up feeling oddly lost. She and Kaya had eaten dinner alone thousands of times, but suddenly the dining room table felt too big, the evening routine incomplete without Logan's presence. When Kaya asked where he was, her disappointment was obvious. I wanted to show him my math test, she said sadly. I got 100%. You can show him tomorrow, Amara assured her, but she understood Kaya's letdown. Logan had become the person they both wanted to share good news with first. He arrived at 9 p.m. with apologies and ice cream, finding them curled up on the couch reading together. I'm sorry I missed dinner, he said, settling beside them. How was your day, scientist? Kaya immediately perked up, pulling out her math test and her latest crystal experiment results. Logan listened with his usual focused attention, celebrating her achievements and asking thoughtful questions about her observations. You're both very important to me, he said later after Kaya had gone to bed. I hope you know that missing dinner felt like missing the best part of my day. You don't have to apologize for work emergencies, Amara said. We understand you have responsibilities. My biggest responsibility is to the people I love, Logan said simply. And I love you. Both of you. It was the first time he'd said the words directly, and they hung in the air between them with weight and promise. I love you too, Amara whispered. So does Kaya. Logan pulled her closer on the couch. I've been thinking about our future lately. What about it? I want to make sure you both know I'm committed to this. To us. For the long term. Logan took her hand. I know it's probably too soon to talk about marriage, but I want you to know that's where I see this heading. I want to be Kaya's father officially, and I want to be your husband. Amara's breath caught. Logan. I'm not asking for an answer now, he said quickly. I just want you to know my intentions are serious. I'm not going anywhere, and I want to build a real family with you both. That night, lying in her new bedroom in their beautiful townhouse, Amara let herself imagine what Logan was proposing. Marriage, adoption, becoming a real family in every sense. 6 months ago the idea would have terrified her. Now, it felt like the natural next step in a relationship that had already transformed their lives completely. The next weekend, Logan took them to a furniture store to select pieces for the living room. As they walked through displays of complete room setups, Amara noticed how naturally they made decisions together, how Logan deferred to her taste while offering practical suggestions, how Kaya's preferences were included and valued. "We need family photos," Kaya announced as they examined a beautiful entertainment center. "For the new furniture." "We don't have any family photos," Amara pointed out. "We should take some," Logan said immediately. "Professional ones. Something beautiful for your new home." The photo session the following weekend felt like a milestone. Dressed in coordinating outfits Logan had helped them choose, they spent an hour with a photographer who captured their easy affection, Kaya's joy, and the obvious love between all three of them. When the photos came back, Amara was amazed at what she saw. They looked like a family. Not a single mother with her daughter and a boyfriend, but a complete unit bound together by genuine love and shared commitment. "We look happy," Kaya observed, studying the pictures. "We are happy," Logan agreed, kissing the top of her head. "Very, very happy." As November turned to December, Amara realized that Logan had kept every promise he'd made. He'd become someone she could count on completely, someone who shared the daily responsibilities and joys of raising Kaya, someone who made their lives richer and more secure without ever making her feel dependent or diminished. He hadn't just offered them love, he'd offered them partnership, stability, and a future that looked brighter than anything she'd ever imagined possible. The question was no longer whether she was ready for what Logan was proposing. The question was how soon she could say yes. December brought the first real test of their family dynamic when Kaya came down with the flu 2 days before the school's winter science fair, an event she'd been preparing for since October. Amara was torn between staying home with her sick daughter and attending the fair to present Kaya's project about crystal formation, which had grown into an impressive display worthy of her months of careful experimentation. "You have to go, Mommy," Kaya said weakly from her bed, surrounded by tissues and the special soup Logan had brought from her favorite restaurant. "Someone needs to explain my hypothesis about temperature affecting crystal structure." "I can't leave you when you're sick, baby." "I'll stay with her," Logan offered immediately. "We'll watch science documentaries and monitor her fever. You go represent her research properly." "Logan, you have that important board meeting?" "I moved it to next week," he said simply. "Kaya's science fair is more important." At the science fair, Amara found herself fielding questions not just about Kaya's impressive crystal project, but about her family situation. Several parents commented on how involved Logan seemed in Kaya's education, how natural they looked together at school events, how lucky Kaya was to have such a supportive father figure. "He's wonderful with her," said Mrs. Chin, whose daughter was in Kaya's gifted program class. "My husband was just saying how nice it is to see a man so engaged with the academic side of parenting." Amara realized that in the school community, Logan was already viewed as Kaya's father in every way that mattered. He attended parent conferences, helped with homework, volunteered for field trip supervision, and knew Kaya's teachers, friends, and academic progress as well as any biological parent would. When she returned home that evening with Kaya's second-place ribbon, she found Logan reading aloud from a science book while Kaya dozed against his shoulder, her fever finally broken. "How did the presentation go?" he whispered. "She won second place and everyone was impressed by her research methodology," Amara whispered back. "But Logan, people think you're her father." "I am her father," Logan said quietly, adjusting the blanket around Kaya. "Maybe not biologically, but in every other way that matters." The conversation continued after Kaya was tucked into her own bed, still weak but much improved. "The parents at school, Kaya's teachers, even Mrs. Rodriguez, they all assume we're a traditional family," Amara said as they cleaned up the living room. "Does that bother you?" Logan asked. "No, it just made me realize how completely you've integrated into our lives. You're not visiting us or helping us occasionally, you're living this with us." Logan set down the books he'd been organizing and turned to face her. "Amara, I meant what I said about wanting to make this official. I love Kaya as if she were my own daughter because she is my own daughter, in my heart. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving that to both of you." "What exactly are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to marry you and I want to adopt Kaya if she's interested in that. I want us to be a real family legally, not just emotionally." The magnitude of what he was offering hit her fully. Logan wasn't just proposing marriage, he was proposing to become Kaya's legal father, to take on all the responsibilities and privileges that came with that role permanently. You'd want to adopt her? I'd be honored to adopt her, Logan said seriously. She's an incredible kid and I can't imagine my life without her in it. I want to be the person she calls dad, the person who walks her down the aisle someday, the person who helps her with college applications and first heartbreaks and all the big moments still to come. Amara felt tears prick her eyes. Logan. Think about it, he said gently. No pressure, no timeline. Just know that when you're ready, I'll be here with a ring and adoption papers and a lifetime commitment to both of you. Christmas that year felt like a preview of their potential future. Logan had asked if he could host Christmas dinner at his house, which turned out to be a beautiful estate with enough room for extended celebrations. He'd invited Rebecca and her family, Mrs. Rodriguez and her grandchildren, and several colleagues who'd become friends. The house was decorated for Christmas like something from a magazine, but Logan had made sure to include handmade ornaments Kaya had created and family traditions Amara had established over the years. Their small contribution to his elegant celebration felt perfectly integrated, not overwhelmed or diminished. This is the best Christmas ever, Kaya announced as she opened presents that morning. Logan had managed to find the perfect balance between generosity and appropriateness, giving her educational gifts that supported her interests without going overboard. Mine too, Logan said, watching Kaya demonstrate her new microscope for Rebecca's children. This is what I always imagined Christmas should feel like. Amara understood what he meant. The house was full of laughter, genuine warmth, and the kind of comfortable chaos that came from people who truly cared about each other. Logan moved through his own elegant home like a gracious host, but his attention kept returning to her and Kaya, making sure they felt comfortable and included in every moment. After the guests left that evening, they sat by Logan's fireplace while Kaya played with her new chemistry set on the coffee table, carefully following instructions for safe experiments. I have something for you, Logan said quietly to Amara, producing a small wrapped box from behind a couch cushion. Logan, we already exchanged gifts. This is different, he said, his voice suddenly nervous in a way she'd rarely heard. Open it. Inside the elegant box was a beautiful necklace with a pendant that looked like a small star made of diamonds and sapphires. It's beautiful, Amara breathed, lifting it from the velvet lining. The star represents guidance, Logan said softly. The way you and Kaya have guided me toward the life I really wanted. The sapphires are Kaya's birthstone and the diamonds. He paused. The diamonds represent forever. Amara looked up at him, seeing love and hope and barely contained emotion in his expression. Logan. I know it's not a ring, he said quickly. I know you're not ready for that yet. But I wanted you to have something that represents how I feel about our future together. Help me put it on? Amara asked, turning so he could fasten the delicate chain around her neck. It's perfect on you, Logan said, his hands lingering on her shoulders. You're perfect. Look what I made. Kaya called from the coffee table, holding up a test tube with a color-changing solution. It's a pH indicator. I can test if things are acids or bases. That's amazing, scientist, Logan said, moving to examine her work. What would you like to test first? As Amara watched Logan help Kaya test various household items with her new chemistry set, the pendant warm against her throat, she realized that her hesitation about marriage wasn't about whether she wanted it. She absolutely did. Her hesitation was about whether she deserved this much happiness, this much security, this complete transformation of their lives. The answer, she was beginning to understand, was that deserve had nothing to do with it. Logan loved them, they loved him, and together they'd built something beautiful and real. That was enough. That was everything. What do you think happens when fear meets perfect love? Have you ever had to choose between playing it safe and embracing a life-changing opportunity? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this one. New Year's Eve brought another milestone. Logan had planned a quiet celebration at the townhouse, just the three of them with sparkling cider for Kaya and champagne for the adults. But as midnight approached, Kaya made an announcement that changed everything. I have a New Year's wish, she said solemnly as they counted down the final minutes of December. What's your wish, baby? Amara asked. I wish Logan could be my real dad, Kaya said, looking directly at Logan. Not just someone who acts like my dad, but my actual dad. Is that possible? Logan's eyes filled with tears as he knelt down to Kaya's level. That's possible if your mom agrees and if that's really what you want. It's what I want most in the whole world, Kaya said seriously. You already love me like a real dad and you take care of us and you know everything about science and math to help with my homework. You should be my dad officially. Kaya, Amara started, but Logan held up a gentle hand. What do you think, Mommy? He asked. Would you like me to be Kaya's real dad? The countdown to midnight continued on the television, but time seemed suspended in their living room as two of the most important people in Amara's world waited for her answer. Yes, she said finally, tears sliding down her cheeks. Yes, I would like that very much. Logan swept Kaya into his arms just as the clock struck midnight, and Amara joined their embrace as fireworks exploded on the TV screen and in her heart. Happy New Year, Dad, Kaya whispered against Logan's shoulder. Happy New Year, daughter, Logan whispered back, and Amara knew that whatever happened next, this moment would remain perfect forever. The following week, Logan surprised them both by announcing he'd already begun researching the adoption process and had consulted with family law attorneys about the best way to proceed. I wanted to be prepared when the time felt right, he explained as they looked through information packets about step-parent adoption. It's actually fairly straightforward since Kaya's biological father terminated his parental rights years ago. You really want to do this? Amara asked, still amazed by Logan's thorough preparation and obvious commitment. Amara, I've wanted to do this since the first night we had dinner together and I watched you with her. I knew then that I wanted to be part of raising that remarkable little girl. The adoption process would take several months, but Logan threw himself into it with the same dedication he brought to everything else. He attended parenting classes, underwent background checks, and met with social workers, all while maintaining his regular presence in Kaya's daily life. The caseworker says she's never seen a more committed prospective adoptive parent, Amara told Rebecca over coffee one Saturday morning. Logan has documentation of every school event he's attended, every medical appointment he's taken Kaya to, every homework session and science project. He's building a case to prove he's already her father in every way that matters, Rebecca observed. That's smart and very Logan-like. I think he's also proving something to himself, Amara said thoughtfully. That he's capable of being the kind of father Kaya deserves. And what about being the kind of husband you deserve? Rebecca asked pointedly. Because everyone can see that's where this is heading. Amara touched the star pendant at her throat, which she'd worn every day since Christmas. I think I'm ready for that too. Really? Really? Logan has proven over and over that he's committed to our family, our future, our happiness. He's not going to change his mind or get tired of the responsibilities. This is who he is. So what are you waiting for? Amara considered the question as she watched Logan through the coffee shop window, where he was teaching Kaya how to identify different types of rocks they'd collected from the beach that morning. His patience was endless, his interest genuine, his love for her daughter radiating from every interaction. I don't think I'm waiting anymore, she said finally. I think I'm ready to say yes to whatever he's planning to ask. Spring arrived with unexpected challenges that tested the strength of their growing family bond. Logan's company was in the middle of a major acquisition that required several business trips, and Amara's marketing team was launching 3 major campaigns simultaneously. For the first time since they'd been together, their carefully balanced routine was disrupted by competing professional demands. I hate that I have to leave right now, Logan said as he packed for a week-long trip to Seattle. Kaya has her science fair presentation next Thursday, and you have that big client pitch on Tuesday. We'll manage, Amara assured him, though she was privately worried about juggling everything alone. Mrs. Rodriguez can help with the extra hours, and Rebecca said she'd come to Kaya's presentation if you're not back in time. I'll be back, Logan said firmly. I'm not missing her presentation. I'll reschedule the Friday meetings if I have to. But Tuesday brought unexpected complications when Logan's return flight was canceled due to weather, and Amara's biggest client pitch was moved up a day due to the client's schedule change. Suddenly she was facing a crucial presentation that could make or break her department's quarterly goals, while Kaya needed help perfecting her science fair project. Mommy, I'm nervous about my presentation, Kaya admitted that evening as they worked on her display board about renewable energy sources. What if I forget everything I practiced? You won't forget, Amara said, dividing her attention between helping with the poster layout and reviewing her own presentation materials on her laptop. You know this subject better than most adults. But Logan always helps me practice the hard questions. What if someone asks something I don't know? Amara looked at her daughter's worried face and realized how much they'd both come to depend on Logan's presence during important moments. He'd become their emotional anchor, the person who provided calm confidence when nerves threatened to take over. You know what? Amara said, closing her laptop. Let's call Logan right now and practice your presentation over video chat. Logan answered immediately despite the 3-hour time difference, and spent the next hour helping Kaya rehearse her presentation from his hotel room in Seattle. He asked thoughtful questions, praised her knowledge, and helped her think through potential audience questions. "You're going to be amazing tomorrow," he told her. "I'm so proud of how hard you've worked on this project." "I wish you could be there," Kaya said sadly. "I wish I could too, sweetheart. But your mom will be there and she'll take lots of pictures and videos for me to see." After Kaya went to bed, Logan stayed on the video call to help Amara practice her own presentation. He listened to her pitch, offered suggestions for improvement, and helped her anticipate potential client objections. "You're going to knock them out," he said confidently. "This campaign strategy is brilliant." "I miss having you here to bounce ideas off," Amara admitted. "I didn't realize how much I'd come to rely on your feedback and support." "I miss being there too. But Amara, look at what you're handling. You're managing a major client presentation, supporting Kaya through her science fair preparation, coordinating schedules, and doing it all with grace. You're incredible. I feel like I'm barely keeping all the balls in the air." "You're not just keeping them in the air, you're juggling them expertly. And tomorrow you're going to succeed at both presentations because you're that good at what you do." Logan was right. Amara's client presentation went flawlessly, earning her team a contract extension and budget increase that exceeded their highest expectations. And that afternoon, Kaya's science fair presentation was so impressive that she won first place in her category. "Logan! Logan!" Kaya shouted into the phone when Amara called him with the news. "I won first place. The judges said my renewable energy project was the most thorough research they'd seen from a second grader." "I knew you would." Logan's joy was evident even through the phone. "I am so proud of you, scientist. You earned that win with all your hard work." That evening, as Amara helped Kaya mount her blue ribbon on her bedroom wall next to her other academic achievements, she realized something important had happened. They'd faced their first real test as a family unit, and even with Logan physically absent, his support and love had carried them through. More importantly, they'd proven to themselves that their bond was strong enough to weather challenges and separation. "Mommy, are you going to marry Logan?" Kaya asked as Amara tucked her into bed. The direct question caught Amara off guard. "Why do you ask?" "Because you love each other and we're already like a family, and I want him to be my dad forever, not just until he changes his mind." "Kaya, Logan isn't going to change his mind about us. But if you got married it would be official, right? Like, he couldn't leave even if he wanted to?" Amara realized that beneath Kaya's confidence and happiness, she still carried some fear of abandonment. Her biological father's departure when she was barely walking had left a scar that Logan's constancy was slowly healing, but the need for security, for permanent commitment, was still strong. "If Logan and I got married, it would mean we're promising to stay together forever," Amara explained carefully. "And if he adopts you, that makes him your legal father forever too. Those are promises people take very seriously. Do you want to make those promises?" Amara looked at her daughter's hopeful face and realized her own fears had been gradually disappearing. Logan had proven his commitment through consistent actions over nearly a year. He'd integrated himself into their lives completely, supported their dreams, shared their daily challenges and victories. Most importantly, he'd shown her that accepting love and partnership didn't make her weak or dependent, it made their family stronger. "Yes," she said simply. "I do want to make those promises." "Good," Kaya said with satisfaction. "Because I think Logan wants to ask you soon. He's been looking at jewelry websites when he thinks nobody's watching." Amara laughed despite herself. "Have you been spying on Logan?" "Not spying. Just observing. Like a scientist." Kaya grinned. "And my observation is that he's planning something special." Logan returned from Seattle the next evening with gifts for both of them and news that the business deal had been successfully completed. "I have something to tell you both," he said as they sat together on the couch after dinner. "The acquisition went through, which means big changes at the company over the next few months." Amara felt a flutter of worry. "What kind of changes?" "The kind where I'll need to travel less, not more," Logan smiled. "The new partnership means I can delegate more of the international business travel to other executives. I'll be home more, able to attend every school event, every bedtime story, every important moment." "Really?" Kaya perked up immediately. "Really? I told the board that my family obligations take priority, and they need to structure the new company accordingly." The casual way Logan referred to them as his family obligations as his top priority made Amara's chest tight with emotion. He'd restructured his professional life around their needs without being asked, without making it seem like a sacrifice. Logan, you didn't have to. Yes, I did, he said seriously. You and Kaya are the most important things in my life. Everything else is just details. Later that evening, after Kaya was asleep, Logan brought up a subject that had clearly been on his mind during his trip. I've been thinking about our future, he said as they sat on the couch together, Amara curled against his side. What about it? I love what we've built together, but I want more. I want it to be permanent and official. I want to marry you, Amara. I want to adopt Kaya and be her legal father. I want us to be a real family in every sense. Amara lifted her head to look at him. Is this a proposal? This is me telling you what I want and asking if you want the same thing, Logan said carefully. If you do, then yes, I have an actual proposal planned. What I want, Amara said, sitting up to face him fully, is exactly what you described. I want to marry you. I want you to be Kaya's father officially. I want us to be a family forever. Logan's smile was radiant. Really? Really? Logan, you've shown me what love is supposed to look like. Not just romantic love, but family love, partnership love, the kind of love that shows up every day and makes everything better. I want that forever. So when I ask you properly with a ring and everything, you'll say yes? I'll say yes, Amara confirmed, laughing at his obvious excitement. Good, Logan said, pulling her back into his arms. Because I've been carrying a ring around for 2 weeks, waiting for the right moment to ask. You have a ring? I have a beautiful ring that I picked out with Kaya's help, Logan admitted. She has very strong opinions about diamonds and wants to make sure you have something spectacular. The idea that Logan and Kaya had conspired together to choose her engagement ring filled Amara with warmth and joy. They weren't just talking about marriage, they were planning it as a family, with Kaya included in every decision. When? She asked. Soon, Logan promised. Very soon. But first, I want to make sure the adoption paperwork is ready to file the same day as the engagement announcement. I want everything to happen together, marriage plans and family plans all at once. That night, lying in bed in the townhouse Logan had given them, wearing the star necklace that represented their future, Amara marveled at the transformation her life had undergone. 18 months ago, she'd been struggling to build a business while raising her daughter alone, worried about money, afraid to trust anyone with their fragile security. Now she was successful professionally, financially stable, and deeply in love with a man who'd proven over and over that his commitment to their family was absolute. More than that, she was ready to take the final step into the future they'd been building together. Tomorrow, Logan would ask her to marry him and she would say yes. The only question was whether she'd be able to wait for him to ask, or if she'd end up proposing to him first. The proposal came on a Saturday morning in May, but not the way Amara had expected. She woke up to find Logan already gone, which was unusual for weekends when he typically made them breakfast and helped Kaya with her morning routine. Instead, she found a note on her pillow written in his careful handwriting. The scientist needs to check her crystal experiment. Something special might have grown overnight. Curious, Amara made her way to Kaya's room, where she found her daughter already awake and examining her latest crystal growing project with intense focus. Mommy, look. Kaya called excitedly. My crystals grew into letters. Amara looked closer at the crystal formation and gasped. The crystals had indeed grown in a pattern that clearly spelled out, "Will you marry us?" How did? She began, then noticed Logan standing in the doorway with coffee, flowers, and a smile that lit up the whole room. Good morning, he said softly. Did you find anything interesting in the crystal experiment? Kaya bounced with excitement. Logan helped me make special crystal letters. He showed me how to shape them so they'd grow the right way. It took 3 tries to get it perfect. 3 tries. Amara looked between them, amazed. We've been working on this for 2 weeks, Logan admitted, moving closer. Kaya insisted the proposal had to involve real science, not just jewelry. And it had to be from both of us, Kaya added seriously. Because we both want you to say yes. Logan knelt down beside Kaya's bed where the crystal proposal sparkled in the morning sunlight. Amara Williams, will you marry us? Will you let me be your husband and Kaya's father forever? Yes, Amara said immediately, tears streaming down her face. Yes, absolutely yes. Logan pulled out a ring box from his pocket, revealing the most beautiful engagement ring Amara had ever seen. The center diamond was surrounded by smaller stones that caught the light and reflected it like stars. Kaya helped me pick it out, Logan said as he slipped it onto Amara's finger. She said you needed something as sparkly as her crystals. It's perfect, Amara breathed, admiring how the ring felt on her hand. Everything about this is perfect. We have more surprises, Kaya announced, practically vibrating with excitement. Tell her about the other papers, Logan. Logan laughed and pulled out an official-looking folder. The adoption paperwork is complete. If you're ready, we can file everything on Monday. By summer, I'll officially be Kaya's father. Really? Amara looked through the documents, seeing months of preparation and legal work that Logan had handled quietly while maintaining his regular presence in their daily lives. Really? The lawyer says it's just a formality now since Kaya's biological father terminated his rights years ago. The judge will approve it easily. Does this mean I get to change my name too? Kaya asked hopefully. If you want to, Logan said seriously. You can be Kaya Carter or Kaya Williams Carter or keep Kaya Williams. Whatever feels right to you. I want to be Kaya Carter, she said immediately. So we all have the same last name like a real family. We're already a real family, Amara said, pulling them both into a hug. But I love the idea of sharing a name. The rest of the morning was a blur of phone calls to friends and family, tears of joy, and detailed planning conversations about weddings and adoption ceremonies and how to coordinate everything. I want a summer wedding, Amara said as they sat around the kitchen table with coffee and the newspaper section full of wedding venue advertisements. Something outdoors with gardens and sunshine. I want to be the flower girl, Kaya added. And I want to help pick your dress. Both excellent requirements, Logan agreed. What else? I want it to be perfect, Amara said simply. Perfect for all three of us. Over the next few weeks, wedding planning became a family activity. Logan approached it with the same thorough attention he gave to business projects, while Kaya provided creative input and Amara made final decisions about everything from flowers to music to menu selections. What about here? Logan suggested one Saturday afternoon as they toured a beautiful garden venue outside the city. The grounds included manicured lawns, flower gardens in full bloom, and a charming gazebo perfect for ceremonies. It's gorgeous, Amara said, envisioning their wedding ceremony surrounded by such natural beauty. And look. Kaya pointed to a butterfly garden visible from the gazebo. We could have butterflies at our wedding. Butterflies would be perfect, Logan agreed. Very scientific and very beautiful. The venue coordinator showed them through the facilities, explaining how ceremonies typically flowed and what services they provided. But what sold Amara on the location was watching Logan and Kaya explore the gardens together, pointing out different flowers and discussing the science behind how gardens were designed to bloom in sequence throughout the growing season. This is where we should get married, she announced. It feels like us. The adoption finalization came first in early June at the family court downtown. Amara had expected a simple legal proceeding, but Logan had arranged for a small celebration afterward, complete with a special dinner and a custom-made cake that read, "Welcome to the Carter family, Kaya." How does it feel to be Kaya Carter officially? Logan asked as they sat in their favorite restaurant with the adoption certificate in a frame between them. It feels like everything makes sense now, Kaya said solemnly. Like we're exactly who we're supposed to be. I couldn't agree more, Amara said, reaching across the table to hold both their hands. That night, as they looked through the adoption photos Logan had insisted on having professionally taken, Amara marveled at how natural they looked as an official family unit. The legal papers didn't change anything about their daily reality, but they made their commitment to each other permanent and unbreakable. 1 month until the wedding, Logan observed, marking the calendar with a red heart. Are you nervous? Amara asked. Not nervous, Logan said thoughtfully. Excited. Grateful. Ready to make it completely official. What about you, Kaya? Are you excited about the wedding? I'm excited about everything, Kaya said. The dress, the flowers, the cake, but mostly about how happy everyone's going to be. Everyone? You and Logan get to promise to love each other forever, and I get to be the flower girl and all our friends and family get to celebrate with us. It's going to be the best day ever. As July approached and wedding details fell into place, Amara found herself amazed by how right everything felt. The guest list included everyone who mattered to them, the ceremony would reflect their values and commitment, and most importantly, Kaya was involved in every aspect as an essential part of their family unit. I have one more surprise, Logan said the week before the wedding, as they sat on their deck reviewing final details with their wedding planner. What kind of surprise? Amara asked suspiciously. Logan's surprises tended to be wonderfully overwhelming. The honeymoon kind, he said with a grin. But it's a family honeymoon. 2 weeks in Costa Rica, staying at a resort that specializes in ecological education. Beach time, rainforest exploration, and hands-on science experiences. A science honeymoon? Kaya's eyes went wide with excitement. The best kind of honeymoon for a family with a budding scientist, Logan confirmed. Zip lining through the rainforest canopy, visiting research stations, learning about conservation efforts, and plenty of beach time for relaxation. Logan, that sounds incredible, but the expense. It's our honeymoon, Logan said simply. All three of us. The beginning of our new life as an officially married family. I want it to be perfect and memorable and exactly right for who we are. The night before the wedding, Amara lay in bed unable to sleep, not from nerves but from pure anticipation. Tomorrow she would marry the man who'd transformed their lives completely, who'd loved Kaya from the moment he met her, who'd proven over and over that his commitment to their family was absolute and unshakable. Her phone buzzed with a text from Logan. Can't sleep either. Too excited about tomorrow. I love you both so much. She texted back. I love you too. See you at the altar, future husband. See you there, future wife. Dream about butterflies and happy endings. Amara smiled and closed her eyes, finally ready to rest before the most important day of their lives together. The morning of July 15th dawned clear and warm, with the kind of perfect weather that seemed designed specifically for outdoor weddings. Amara woke up in Rebecca's guest room, where tradition had required her to spend the night away from Logan, to sunshine streaming through the windows and the sound of excited voices downstairs. The bride needs coffee. Rebecca called up the stairs. And breakfast. And possibly a mild sedative. I'm not nervous, Amara called back, which was surprisingly true. She'd expected wedding day jitters, but instead she felt nothing but calm anticipation and joy. That's what they all say, Rebecca laughed, appearing in the doorway with coffee and a pastry from Amara's favorite bakery. How did you sleep? Better than I thought I would. I kept waking up happy instead of worried. That's a good sign. It means you're marrying the right person. 3 hours later, Amara stood in the bridal suite at the garden venue, looking at herself in the full-length mirror while Rebecca, her mother, and the photographer captured every moment. Her dress was simple but elegant, with delicate lace detailing and a flowing skirt that moved beautifully in the summer breeze. But what she loved most was how confident and radiant she looked. You're glowing, her mother said, adjusting the delicate veil Logan and Kaya had helped her choose months earlier. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, Amara replied, touching the star necklace Logan had given her at Christmas, which she'd chosen to wear as her something blue. A knock at the door interrupted the final preparations. Special delivery for the bride, came Logan's voice from the hallway. The groom isn't supposed to see the bride before the ceremony. Rebecca called back. I'm not looking. Just delivering something important. Rebecca cracked the door and accepted a small wrapped box with a note attached. She handed it to Amara with a curious expression. The note, in Logan's familiar handwriting, read, For my beautiful bride, from both your groom and your daughter. We love you more than all the stars in the sky. Inside the box was a delicate bracelet with 3 charms, a star, a heart, and a small crystal. The star matched her necklace, the heart was engraved with their wedding date, and the crystal was an exact replica of the ones from Kaya's science experiments. Oh, Amara breathed, tears threatening her carefully applied makeup. It's perfect. No crying yet, the photographer warned with a smile. Save the tears for the ceremony. 15 minutes later, Amara stood at the back of the garden aisle, her arm linked through her father's, watching their guests settle into white chairs arranged in neat rows before the flower-covered gazebo. The setting was everything they dreamed of. Butterflies danced among the blooms, gentle music played, and sunshine filtered through the trees to create perfect natural lighting. At the altar, Logan stood with the officiant and his best man, looking handsome and confident in his navy suit. But his attention was focused entirely on the aisle, waiting for his bride and daughter to appear. The music shifted to the processional, and Kaya appeared first as the flower girl, wearing a pale yellow dress and carrying a basket of rose petals. She walked down the aisle with perfect composure, scattering petals and beaming at the guests who smiled and waved back. When she reached the altar, she took her place next to Logan and gave him a thumbs up, making him laugh with delight. Then the bridal march began, and Amara started down the aisle toward her future husband and daughter. Logan's expression when he saw her was everything she'd hoped for: pure love, amazement, and joy that made her feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. When she reached the altar, her father placed her hand in Logan's and whispered, "Take care of my girls." "Forever," Logan promised, his voice thick with emotion. The ceremony was perfect in its simplicity and meaning. Logan and Amara exchanged vows they'd written themselves, promising partnership, support, and endless love. When the officiant asked if anyone had objections to the marriage, Kaya raised her hand. "I have something to say," she announced seriously. The guests chuckled as the officiant smiled and nodded for her to continue. "I want to say that Logan has been my dad in my heart for a long time, and now it's official everywhere else too. And I promise to be the best daughter ever and to help take care of both of them forever." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience as Logan knelt down to hug Kaya before returning to the ceremony. "By the power vested in me," the officiant concluded, "I now pronounce you husband and wife, and declare you a family in every sense of the word. Logan, you may kiss your bride." The kiss was sweet, tender, and filled with promise for their future together. As they broke apart, Logan pulled Kaya into their embrace, and the three of them shared a family hug while the photographer captured the moment and the guests erupted in cheers. The reception was everything Amara had hoped for: elegant but relaxed, filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches from friends and family. Logan's toast to his new wife and daughter brought everyone to tears, while Kaya's impromptu speech about how happy she was to have a dad made everyone laugh and cry simultaneously. "Ladies and gentlemen," the DJ announced as the evening wound down, "the bride and groom would like to invite everyone to join them for their first dance as a married couple and family." Instead of a traditional first dance, they'd chosen a song that allowed all three of them to dance together, symbolizing their commitment to each other as a complete family unit. As they swayed together in the center of the dance floor, surrounded by everyone they loved, Amara felt a profound sense of completion and joy. "How does it feel to be Mrs. Carter?" Logan whispered in her ear. "It feels like coming home," she whispered back. "And how does it feel to be officially a Carter family, Kaya?" Logan asked their daughter, who was dancing between them. "It feels like the best science experiment ever," Kaya replied solemnly. "We mixed three people together and created something completely new and perfect." As the song ended and their guests applauded, Amara looked around at the garden venue filled with butterflies, flowers, and everyone who mattered to them. 2 years ago, she'd been a struggling single mother afraid to trust anyone with her daughter's heart or her own. Tonight, she was surrounded by love, security, and a future that looked brighter than anything she'd ever dared to imagine. "Ready for our honeymoon adventure, Mrs. Carter?" Logan asked as they prepared to leave for their hotel before flying to Costa Rica the next morning. "Ready for everything," Amara replied, meaning it completely. "Our whole beautiful future." As they drove away from the reception venue, rice and flower petals flying from the car windows and Kaya chattering excitedly about their upcoming trip, Amara realized that fairy tales weren't just stories after all. Sometimes they were real life, disguised as a blind date, a job opportunity, and a man who fell in love with a little girl's questions about science. Sometimes they were simply love that showed up consistently day after day, until it transformed everything into something more beautiful than you'd ever dreamed possible. 3 months later, the Costa Rica trip had been everything Logan promised and more. They'd zip-lined through rainforest canopies, learned about sea turtle conservation, and spent countless hours on beaches where Kaya collected shells and conducted experiments with sand and seawater. More importantly, they'd begun their married life with adventures that brought them even closer together as a family. Now, settled back into their routine in their townhouse, Amara marveled at how natural married life felt. Logan's presence was so woven into the fabric of their daily existence that she couldn't remember what life had been like without him. "Mommy, Logan." Kaya called from the kitchen where she was working on her latest science project. "Come see what happened to my volcano." They found her standing proudly next to a papier-mâché volcano that was erupting with perfect scientific precision, sending foam cascading down its sides and across the newspaper-covered kitchen table. "Excellent chemical reaction," Logan observed seriously, examining her work. "What did you learn about the interaction between baking soda and vinegar?" "That when you mix them, they create carbon dioxide gas, and the gas needs somewhere to go, so it pushes the foam out of the volcano," Kaya explained enthusiastically. "It's like how real volcanoes work, but with different chemicals." "That's exactly right," Amara said, wrapping her arms around Logan's waist as they watched their daughter clean up her experiment with scientific precision. "You're getting very good at explaining your hypotheses." "Mrs. Patterson says I might get to enter the district science fair next year," Kaya announced proudly. "She thinks my projects are advanced enough for fourth-grade competition." "We'll support whatever scientific endeavors you want to pursue," Logan said, helping her carefully pour the leftover vinegar back into its container. "But first, let's get this kitchen cleaned up before your volcano explodes again." As they worked together to restore the kitchen to its normal state, Amara felt that familiar warmth of contentment that had become her constant companion. These ordinary moments helping with science projects, cleaning up messes, planning dinner together were the foundation of the happiness she'd found with Logan. "I have some news to share," Logan said once Kaya's experiment was properly stored and the kitchen was clean. "The board approved my proposal for the company's new family-friendly policies." "What kind of policies?" Amara asked, settling beside him on the couch while Kaya curled up in her favorite reading chair with a book about marine biology. "Flexible work schedules for parents, on-site childcare facilities, and expanded parental leave for both mothers and fathers," Logan explained. "I told them that employees with strong family support systems are more productive and loyal, and they agreed." "Logan, that's wonderful. Those policies will help so many families. I was inspired by someone who showed me how important it is to balance professional success with family priorities," Logan said, squeezing her hand. "Someone who taught me that taking care of the people you love isn't a distraction from work, it makes everything else more meaningful." "Are you talking about me?" Amara asked with a smile. "I'm talking about both of you," Logan said, glancing at Kaya, who was completely absorbed in her book. "You showed me what real priorities look like." That evening, after Kaya was asleep, Logan and Amara sat on their back deck with cups of tea, planning Kaya's upcoming birthday party and discussing Amara's latest client projects. The conversation flowed easily between practical details and future dreams, the kind of comfortable partnership conversation that married couples have when they're truly compatible. "Do you ever miss it?" Logan asked suddenly. "Miss what?" "The independence. Making all the decisions yourself. Not having to consider anyone else's schedule or preferences." Amara considered the question seriously. "Sometimes I think about how simple life was when it was just Kaya and me. But I don't miss the worry, the financial stress, or feeling like I had to handle everything alone. And I definitely don't miss not having you in our lives." "Even when I leave dishes in the sink?" Logan teased. "Even when you leave dishes in the sink," Amara confirmed. "Though we should probably work on that habit." "Noted," Logan laughed. "What about you? Do you ever regret taking that blind date Rebecca practically forced you into?" "Never," Amara said immediately. "That night changed everything for us. It brought us you." "It brought me you too," Logan said softly. "Both of you. I didn't know what I was missing until I found it." As autumn settled over their neighborhood, bringing cooler temperatures and the start of a new school year, the Carter family continued to thrive. Kaya excelled in her advanced classes, Amara's marketing career reached new heights of success, and Logan found ways to be present for every important moment while still running his company effectively. "We should start thinking about next summer," Logan suggested one October evening as they reviewed Kaya's report card, which was filled with A's and glowing teacher comments about her curiosity and work ethic. "What about next summer?" Amara asked. "Family vacation. Maybe Europe this time?" Kaya could see real castles, visit science museums in London and Paris, maybe take a cooking class in Italy. "Logan, that sounds amazing, but..." "But what?" "Nothing," Amara said, realizing she'd been about to protest the expense out of old habit. "It sounds perfect. Kaya would love seeing the world." "Good. I'll start researching family-friendly educational tours." As they planned their future travels and discussed Kaya's academic goals, Amara marveled at how natural it had become to think in terms of we instead of I. Logan's presence in their lives had shifted everything from survival mode to thriving mode, from managing day by day to planning years in advance. "I love our life," she said suddenly, interrupting Logan's explanation of potential Italian itineraries. "I love our life too," Logan agreed, pulling her closer on the couch. "All of it. The ordinary Tuesday nights, the weekend science experiments, the family dinners, the vacation planning, even Kaya's volcano disasters in the kitchen. Don't forget the parent-teacher conferences and the carpools and the grocery shopping," Amara added with a smile. "Especially those things," Logan said seriously. "The mundane, everyday responsibilities that mean we're really a family." Upstairs, they could hear Kaya practicing her presentation for the next day's class, her voice carrying through the house as she explained photosynthesis to her stuffed animals. "She's going to be something special," Logan observed, listening to their daughter's confident explanation of complex scientific concepts. "She already is something special," Amara corrected. "But yes, I think she's going to change the world someday. We're raising a future scientist, aren't we?" "We are," Amara agreed, loving how naturally Logan had claimed co-ownership of Kaya's upbringing. "A brilliant, confident, loved little scientist who knows she can accomplish anything. Just like her mother," Logan said, kissing Amara's temple. A brilliant, confident, loved woman who's accomplished more than she ever thought possible. As they sat together in their comfortable living room, listening to their daughter rehearse for tomorrow's presentation, Amara felt the deep satisfaction that comes from a life well lived. She'd taken risks, accepted help, opened her heart to love, and built something beautiful with someone who'd proven worthy of her trust. The blind date she'd reluctantly agreed to had become a love story that exceeded her wildest dreams. The struggling single mother had become part of a thriving family. The woman afraid to depend on anyone had learned that the right kind of dependence, mutual support, shared responsibilities, collaborative decision-making made everyone stronger. "Ready for bed, Mrs. Carter?" Logan asked as Kaya's voice finally quieted upstairs. "Ready for whatever comes next, Mr. Carter," Amara replied, meaning it with all her heart. Hand in hand, they turned off the lights and headed upstairs to check on their daughter before settling into their own bedroom, surrounded by the comfortable certainty of love that had been tested, proven, and would last forever. Outside, the first snow of winter began to fall, dusting their neighborhood in quiet beauty, while inside, the Carter family slept peacefully, secure in the knowledge that they'd found exactly what they'd been looking for without even knowing they were searching. Love had found them instead, disguised as a favor for a friend, a job opportunity, and a man who fell in love with a little girl's questions about science. Sometimes the best fairy tales were the ones that looked like ordinary life until you stepped back far enough to see the magic that had been there all along.